Today, we're going over the flaws in the police recruitment process and what some of the departments are doing that are hurting the entire hiring process across the board. Let's discuss. Before we get started, I have two gifts in the description for you. One is the Getting Started workshop. It's going to walk you through every phase of the hiring process. Plus, there's some hidden bonuses in there I know you're going to love. Next is a free coaching call with any member of my team, or you can jump on a call with myself and answer any questions you need answered, whether that's hurdles, whether that's background, whether it's just questions about your specific hiring process. Jump on. We'd love to help you, me, or any member of my team. Now, there's some issues going on with the police recruitment process that myself and my team is seeing over and over again recently, and it's only going to make the law enforcement community and law enforcement hiring as a whole suffer even greater down the line. And if you're a police recruiter and you're working with a department, if this isn't you, great. I appreciate what you're doing out there. But if this is you, then bring this up to the chain of command and tell them, hey, where are we at? Are we solely focused on us, or are we trying to make the profession as a whole look better? Because I'm going to tell you right now, just because your department might be okay right now, it doesn't change the fact that if another department gets jammed up because they made a mistake due to staffing or something along those lines, then you're going to run into a situation where it's going to have negative consequences, excuse me, on your department down the line. And we saw that before with the defund the police movement and a lot of other things that went down that avenue, we should say. We'll put it that way. I'll leave it at that. But here's where we're at with it. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing more departments and more states open up for out-of-state laterals. Let's do the math real quick on this. If you have positions available all over the country, all over the world, right? We can say, but all over the country, you have positions, right? Law enforcement got down to 40% understaffed across the nation. So you have 40% understaffed, and then you say, hey, we're only going to accept laterals because we need to fill billets quicker because we're so understaffed. We don't have time to wait for training. We don't have time to invest in people, and we're just going to accept out-of-state laterals. So guess what? All you're doing is shifting around the numbers. So let's say you have 100,000 positions available throughout the nation, right? 100,000 police positions available, and you only have 60,000 law enforcement officers. Well, guess what? If all you do is shift those ones around, you're still 40,000 short across the nation. And if you're saying, oh, it doesn't matter to me because my department's filled and we're good to go and we look great, it doesn't matter to you right now until those other departments do another bonus or do a higher pay raise and they all leave you again. And all we're doing is a huge slinky effect, like we're in a traffic jam, right? It's not a conducive way to do this. And I'll give you a legitimate example. I will not use the department's name, but I recently had a coaching member, come to me with an official offer letter in hand, with the academy date, fitted for uniforms, conditional offer, met all the conditions, got the official hire letter, and then the department rescinded it and changed the academy to a lateral academy only. So instead of a 6-month police academy, they changed it to a 5-week lateral academy to fill billets quickly. If you work with that department or you work for a department, just so you know, if you do that, you just violated an employment contract. You can be sued, right? And if you're saying, oh, no one's going to sue us because they don't want to have a lawsuit against the department on their hands when they're trying to become a police officer, that might be true, right? I might find a way to kind of make sure you don't do that anymore, right? Maybe jump into the legal sector, start contacting some litigators and see if they want to take the case as a public issue, because that is just so wrong as an organization, right? Don't do that. If you do that, you're not helping yourself. Okay, great. You've temporarily filled some billets. What happens when those people leave? And there's still only 60,000 law enforcement officers to go around because everyone's just doing lateral hires, lateral hires. I'll give you all to the solution to this towards the end here, at least what my solution would be to it. But here's where you're at with it. You're only hurting yourselves down the line. And once again, As I said, if you don't think it's going to affect you, you're wrong. Let's say you lateral hire and you lateral hire and all those departments move from your next door neighbor department to your department. You're like, oh, great. We went from 40% understaffed to now we're only 15 or 20% understaffed. We didn't have to spend as much money. Great. Well, what happens when that department realizes that you did that and they raise their salaries again and they just jump back? Right now, your department's short staffed. Or better yet, what happens when that happens and then that department, because their officers are so short staffed, they're burning overtime left and right, wind up making a mistake, making it in the news, right? And then come to find out that they list in the news, hey, this department and their, bad training practices. Oh, and by the way, a third of their department transferred over to this department, so you better watch out because this department might have those same training scars or training issues in their department. You see what I'm saying here? And as a recruiter, you're just saying, oh, well, my job's just to fill billets. That's the training department. No, you're not thinking about this holistically, right? It's just going to come back to bite the profession in the rear. Knock it off. All right. You can do laterals. You should do laterals, right? I think out of state laterals should be open across the nation. I think every state should allow out of state laterals. Why? Because it keeps the departments competitive. I 100% believe that, but not at the issue of not bringing in new recruits. All right. Even the military learned that lesson a long time ago. We never stopped recruiting for the sheer new members for the sheer fact that certain people don't stay in the military for a whole career, right? You'll have, I think it's like 13% of the actual individuals, or it might be less than that. It might be under 10%. But anyway, a small percentage of the actual individuals that want to retire from the military actually do. If you take that concept and you apply it to law enforcement, you need a fresh insert of recruits. And not only do you need that, but the fresh insert is people giving you the perspective of where civilians lie. And that's ultimately what law enforcement is. It's a service to civilians. All right. If you're going through this, right, and you're trying to get in and you're saying, hey, my department is I met all the conditions in my department and they rescinded, they gave me a conditional offer and I met all the conditions. I passed everything and then they took away my conditional offer. And you find out that that department, changed it to a full on just lateral. You may have some legal avenues to take if you want to. I'm not saying to do that, but I'm just saying you may at that point. Um, and I'm not trying to tear down departments here, but I am trying to stop you from doing a bad practice if you're with a department. All right. Don't just think, oh man, we're going to lateral and fill our billet. And no, because law enforcement is not looked at as a single department. Whatever department in California gets in trouble, it hurts the department in Florida, right? Because the whole country, the whole world sees law enforcement as a collective unit. All right. Do not try to come into this and say, oh, I'm just worried about, yes, you should be focused on your department, right? But, if we did that as a country here and said, oh, all I got to do is care about my state and I don't care, you know, my state was just devastated by a hurricane. We had people from all over the country come out and support us. Imagine if we were just say, oh, no, that's your state's problem. Sorry, you deal with it. No, we would have not recovered to the point that we are right now without people from the other states. It works the same way in law enforcement. Stop being so narrow-minded and saying, "Oh man, hey chief, hey sheriff, we can just do a lateral announcement and fill our billets and we're good to go." Right? Now that we're allowed to do out-of-state laterals, we can do a 5-week academy instead of a 6-month academy. We don't have to do any we don't they're experienced officers. We don't have to, yeah, but you took them from somewhere, which is fine as long as that that department or those other departments are able to replenish their people. And guess what? You can't replenish your people if everyone's just fighting for 60,000 out of 100,000 or 100,000 billets and only 60,000 positions or filled positions. You got 40,000 unfilled positions. If you just keep recycling, you still have 40,000. And then guess what? People resign, people get injured, people retire. So now that 60,000 that you started with this year is is 55,000 next year. And then 50,000 a year after that. And to the point that now we're down to 50-50, right? We have 50% unmanned staffing in departments because you don't understand or you didn't advocate in your department as a recruiter that you need to hire new candidate pools, no matter what it costs the department. It's just going to go down less and less and less and less and less. And the only way you're going to get there, you think your department can't afford it now. You're like, oh man, we just raised salaries to 60, 70,000. Yeah. Oh, we're in a rural area in Louisiana or Iowa or something like that. The average salary here is 50,000. We're already paying 60,000 for long. Yeah, you're going to be paying 80 or 90,000 to get people to sign up because I have people coming to me. I have these recruits, these trainees, these candidates coming to me and saying, why even apply? Right? Oh, I've always wanted to do law enforcement. I always wanted to do law enforcement. Why even apply? They're telling us that all they want to do is hire laterals right now. And then you're going to lose all these people. If you Let's look at the numbers again, right? For every, 100 positions, you were getting 1,000 applicants. Okay. Now you're getting about what, 400 or 500 applicants for every 100 positions, right? Still, numbers look good, right? You're still good. But now applicants are coming and saying, Frank, I don't even see the point. It's just a lateral. Why I can't apply? I really want to work in my home department. I feel like I'm a good fit. I give them a quick review and eligibility exam. They're a great candidate. Background looks good, no major hurdles. Has a desire to do law enforcement, competent individual. No, they want to go. They got to leave the state or they got to go or relocate within the state to go to a department that's hiring new recruits because that department is still investing in the growth of I shouldn't even say the growth, the recovery of the profession right now because we are not out of the woods yet. Yes, we still have enough applicants to facilitate billets, but not if we stop doing new recruit hires. All right. Now, I'm being dramatic here on this. There's still plenty of departments out there that are hiring new recruits. So don't think they're not. And there's plenty out there, and it's easy to search. If you're having a hard time finding one in your local, reach out to me or reach out to a member of my team. We'll help you find one. Right? We'll review as many departments that we need to for you. But at the same point in time, I can see an issue coming down the pipeline that I want to prevent. And it's a major issue right now. It doesn't say 60,000 officers for long. Then it goes down to, and by the way, these numbers aren't accurate. So if you Google it, you're going to see there's a lot more law enforcement than that. But it doesn't say 60,000 forever. It will drop down to 55,000 to 5,000 or to 50,000 and keep going until you literally have what's going on in the construction industry right now where their average person, what was it, 20 years ago was 25, and now their average person is over 50. Right? Because they didn't keep trying to recruit and train new individuals. And now so what do they have to do? They have to entice young individuals to apply. And the only way you're going to do that is with significant compensation increases. And private industry can kind of do that, right? Because if I can raise the prices, I can raise or excuse me, if my cost of labor is more, I just raise the prices, supply and demand. Public sector, you got to implement higher taxes. Good luck doing that, right? Because you're going to get a lot of pushback from your members. You think that makes them mad at you. Oh, imagine them saying, hey, unfortunately, we're sorry, but we're increasing your taxes this year because we need to hire more police officers at a significantly higher salary because we were idiots and we stopped recruiting for 5 years. And it's going to have everlasting effects. So now you need to finance the new salaries of these new officers. By the way, because we're bringing them on, we have to raise all the other officers' compensation too. And yeah, we're raising taxes, 5, 10% to facilitate this because we jacked up. No, it's not going to go over well, right? That's when you start getting some mutinies on your hands with civilians. No, don't do it. All right. It's easy to predict now. Just stop. Here, I told you that I had a potential. Now, this is my personal solution. Here's what I would do with this. Because laterals have a significantly less training process, and it depends on state, I understand that, right? Which is one reason to petition, your state, Department of Justice, whoever controls the regulations for this for your specific state, would look like this. If you're significantly short-staffed, and this could be temporary or you could turn it into a permanent rotation, quarterly hirings. All right. And you're saying, well, that's a lot. Well, guess what? Work. It's time to do some work if you're a recruiter. And HR. It is what it is. Quarterly hirings. January's your, and these you can rotate these, it doesn't matter. January's your new recruit academy. You do not hire any laterals, right? You're whatever. Uh, January is your new recruit hiring process, January to June. June's your academy, right? In there, in March is your lateral, right? So you do your announcement in January, you do your full recruit every biannually. You recruit for the June academy, January through June. Start your June academy, then June from December is recruiting for your January academy. So you're running an academy every January, every June. If you want to offset that or whatever you want to do, that's fine. March and what would that be? March and September are your lateral hires. All right. So once again, January new recruits, March laterals. It's that simple. Now, yes, I shouldn't say it's that simple. Is there going to be some struggle and some learning curve to this? Absolutely, if you're not doing it already. So, you could say, "Oh, Frank, you make it sound so simple." No, it's work. I know it's work. So, the recruits that are applying to you are doing more work than they've ever done to get a job, right? And you're telling them, "Oh, suck it up. This is what you have to do." Well, guess what? Suck it up. This is what you have to do to help fix the profession. It is what it is. There's no other way to do it if you're going to allow laterals. Because if you stop recruiting new recruits and new trainees, you're just going to hurt yourself. And then if people start feeling like what I'm hearing on the other side of it, where they're saying, I don't even know if I want to apply because I could self-sponsor myself, but I'm still getting beat out by laterals because they have experience. So I could pay 5 grand, self-sponsor myself through the academy, and then lose out and then that self-sponsor, that certification ends in 2 or 3 years. And then I just wasted that money if I can't get hired in 2 or 3 years. You're making it to the point to where individuals want the profession, but it's getting too hard to pursue it. And it's not too hard to pursue it because backgrounds are too hard or because no, they don't care about that. They're ready to do all that. But because when they do all that and they pass it all, you're still telling them, sorry, we're going to hire these laterals because we can get them on the street faster. I get it, but you're just going to hurt yourself down the line. As for those of you going through the process, this is not meant to deter you. There's still plenty of departments that have noticed this. They're still recruiting very heavily. The majority of departments are still doing that. I've just seen more departments being heavy on the lateral side. Do not get discouraged. If you see a job announcement that says lateral, just ignore it. Go right to the next one. Couple tricks and tips that you can use. Look for when you search police recruit, police trainee. Be careful with police cadet because sometimes that means an internship, right? It could be it depending on how they list it. If you're a department and you're listing it as police cadet, list it as something else. Recruit trainee or recruit trainee, new hire, or initial hire or no experience. Don't make it convoluted when you're doing a job announcement. Take some training in that. All right. Make it clear, concise, and don't abbreviate either. All right. Make it clear so that people can find you. It's marketing. Do it right. But yes, if you're a police candidate and you're going through the hiring process, don't get discouraged. We're here to help. Those gifts are in the description for you. The Getting Started workshop is going to walk you through every phase of the hiring process. Plus, there's some hidden bonuses in there, as well as a coaching call with any member of my team or myself. I hope this helps. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.